people? It's your boy, Staff D, back with my homie.
What's up? What it do?
And this is Thinking Out Loud, Dangerous Minds. This is the Thinking Out Loud podcast. It's been a minute, but we felt like, hey, let's jump back on and discuss some things. We ain't chopped it up in a little bit. Well, we've been chopping it up off air, but on air we haven't chopped it up in a while. So, True, Menace-Tree, Trevon, what you been up to, man?
Man, not a whole lot. I mean, other than just the same old, just work, and then work, family, and ministry. Pretty much been the main three things I've been pretty much occupied with, consistent on, and that's pretty much my reality that I've been dealing with lately. I mean, been trying to stay tuned in on, in culture, to some degree, but I mean, I've been pretty much just busy with working, man, and tending to my family.
Yeah, you sound like me pretty much.
Yeah.
Same here, ministering, still pastoring to an extent. I guess we might well stop. I need to stop saying to an extent because pretty much in it now. Of course, for my family, my two babies, got twins now, and then my other two, my older son and then my daughter. And working, and so it's basically the same story over here, man. Typical male, day-to-day, handling his business life, So anyway, sneak in some gaming here and there. Haven't gotten a chance to get back on my music like I want to. Been doing a lot of research and studying on like the Nicaea, the Council of Nicaea, and also did some been doing and I told you about this, a series on First Corinthians where Paul was talking about I became all things that I might gain some. I think it's First Corinthians, I want to say 9. Where is that? 9 and 9 and 29 and 19, I think 9 and 19 through 23, I think. Around there where we are called to, I'm trying to show the church how we're called to go beyond our bubbles, beyond our comfort zones, and engage a world that is very different from us. And not trying to use the security of Christianity to avoid interacting with folks who don't subscribe to our faith, and folks who, so we use Christianity and that whole be ye separate lingo to justify not interacting with people who don't believe in what we believe in or believe the way we believe. So, or we can even take it farther with the whole racial divide. We stay in our black bubbles, we stay in our white bubbles, we stay in our church congregation bubble, whether it's Baptist or Pentecostal or Kojic or Lutheran or Methodist or Catholic, the whole list go on. We try to stay in these different cultural bubbles, unwilling to engage and take the gospel beyond that. It's pretty much called transcending gospel, where the gospel transcends our bubbles and our circles of comfort. And we are like Paul, and Paul, like Jesus, are supposed to engage all for the sake of the gospel, which 1 Corinthians 9:19 through 23 is actually saying. It ends there, I do this all for the sake of the gospel. So that's what I've been on, been doing a lot of research with that and trying to get my church to understand, since I'm kind of dealing with a multi-congregational church, a diverse church, where we not just black, we got a lot of a few white members, and Lord been blessing, so trying to deal with that as well. So anyway, I've been on that, man.
Hey man, you been sounds like God got you pretty busy, man. So
yeah, we was trying, let's bring this up. We was trying to get our boy Deontay in, King Cooper, that's what he go by. But technical difficulties wouldn't allow us to sync up on Google Hangout. So we were gonna jump on Skype, but like us being a married man with a new baby in the house, he only had so much time he can invest to being here, so he had to postpone him being on. But we decided to go ahead and do it anyway. But we're gonna try to have him on maybe another time this week if we can get up and do it again. Because he wanted to talk about a few of the topics we're gonna hit on. You been reading anything? I know you're a heavy reader. What you been reading?
I've been reading. Actually, been reading a book. It might sound kind of strange. I've been reading a book about how to conduct gospel-centered funerals. Um, me being
Okay, that's different.
yeah. I'm actually reading two books at the same time though. I'm reading that, and my main reason for reading that is just being a young minister that I've only done like two funerals, and both of those funerals, I was very, very, very much a novice in doing them, and so just wanting to get more insight, more wisdom as to how to conduct funerals in a way that's going to be God honoring, that also reflects the gospel more thoroughly, and that is a way that is going to best minister to the needs of the people. So
Right.
so this book really hits. Its aim is to hit on all those points, and so I'm reading that. It's a small little book. I'll probably be done with it in the next couple of days. If I stick with it, diligently enough. But I'm reading that book, but then I'm also I just started this book. It's by a guy named Paul Tripp, and the name of the book is Dangerous Calling, and it's basically a book that talks about confronting the unique challenges of pastoral ministry. And so I've been reading about this stuff, just trying to see what get any insight as to things that pertain to pastoral ministry or ministry leadership in general. you know so yeah, those are two books I've been reading, and then just been reading blogs and stuff here and there. There's a internet blog site that I read from time to time. It's called Think Christian, which actually it's the title kind of lead people astray, but it's it's actually a website that talks about different issues in pop culture, and what how scripture addresses those issues and things like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That first one you was talking about with the funerals, man. The few that I end up, it was crazy. My first introduction to going full, like not full time ministry, but stepping into pastoral, being a pastor and all that. My first year, I did, I want to say 4 to 5 funerals, man, and
Oh, really?
3 being family. Yeah. So one thing I've learned, man, I go off of the Ecclesiastics 3 and 7. I think it's where it talks about there's a time,
Time and purpose
for basically talking about time for everything, man. And I look at it how, one thing I'm really against is trying to, and I think me and you have discussed this as well, trying to, when in a time of mourning, you gotta allow them to mourn. You gotta allow them to grieve.
Mm-hmm.
And then to me, at that moment, we as ministers need to be encouragement, as well as we always seeking an opportunity to introduce Christ and in an avenue to introduce Christ. But I've seen the ways that I would say novice preachers, and not you, but because I know you said I think we both novice at funerals, but I would say unlearned preachers, or preachers who haven't really studied to show themselves approved, beat the family at the funeral. And it's like, they know they sinners and very much need the gospel preached to them. But there's a setting that is taking place that they are already hurting, And I would think, like the scripture says, there's a time for all things, and maybe that's not the time. Maybe it's just a time to listen, be words of encouragement, a shoulder to lean on for strength, and then rather than trying to, in my opinion, beat Christ in them. And I don't know how the few that I've been complimented on how I approached it, really trying to deal with the family, trying to sympathize and relate, because we all been here, been in that place at different points in our life where we have lost loved ones, and we know how I do it is I look at how I felt,
yeah,
and where my mental state was at. And I'm gonna be honest, my mental state, like when I lost my father, if I wasn't the one doing the pretty much running the service, if I wasn't doing the mediation and whatever, if you came to me trying to tell me I'm a sinner, and I don't know how I probably would have been upset. I'll be honest with you, because I'm hurting right now. I'm hurt. I just lost my father, or I lost my uncle, or I lost a mother, or I lost a brother, whoever, a close friend. And this ain't the moment to tell me. I know I need the Lord, not to say that. We all, I ain't saying you shouldn't say, hey, but to tell me I'm a sinner and you need to get your right because you can be here, to me, I don't know if that's the proper approach. And I'm trying to, I wrestle with that. That's just my opinion. I ain't telling anybody to take that. But I wrestle when I hear preachers basically condemn the family that just lost someone. And I said in many funerals where they have done that, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. Being a believer, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. So, but I hope the book probably deals on those aspects of funerals, the proper way to introduce Christ, the time to introduce Christ. First, you got to be loving. You got to show yourself that you understand the situation and be sympathetic to it. This one preacher would just gloss straight over the funeral. You could be, this could be you. You need to, I was like, dang, man, you ain't even, hey, okay, all right. Well, so anyway, that ain't what we're here to talk about. So this is the Dangerous Mind Thinking Out Loud podcast. And we try to tackle topics that a lot of Christians might avoid or run from due to the complexities of the topic and, the different layers to it. Sometimes it's dealing with a racial element, dealing with a religious element that might differ from us. So we try to tackle these topics and give our opinions over pop culture, trending topics, and all that, because we are human and we are part, even though we're not in the world, we do hear what goes on in the world, and we do exist in this world.
In the world, not of it.
Yeah, in it, but not of it. But so it ain't like we are totally oblivious to what's going on. Some things do affect us. So we want to kind of talk about that. Yes, you will hear our children rock through because we are fathers. And, my daughter might come down here screaming, Daddy, just because I'm trying to do this. So excuse all that. But so let's talk about this first one, man. And I guess we'll deal with Chris Rock, the Oscars, and the whole Oscars so white situation that took place, and give our thoughts on it. So I throw it into your lap. What was your thoughts on the whole situation surrounding the Oscars with for black nominees for the best actors and actresses and runners up? What's your thoughts on all that first before we deal with what Chris Rock had to say at the
Oscars? What were my thoughts as far as like who was nominated and who wasn't?
Yeah, the whole situation about the Oscars so white. The whole thing with Jada Pinkett, coming out. Spike Lee, many others boycotting the Oscars. Not, some didn't watch the Oscars. Me, I can't boycott something I never watched anyway. So I'd never catch the Oscars and really don't care. I didn't never That's something that I'm more into, like the Grammys and the rap war. I'm more into or the gospel stuff like that. I'm more into that than the Oscars. So the whole fact that you had some great movies out like Creed, you had Selma, you had what's some few other ones that could have been nominees.
Straight out of Compton.
Straight Out of Compton, which I just bought.
Concussion.
Yes, I own that. Concussion. So what are your thoughts when the fact that the Oscars for another year straight had no black nominees for these top acting spots?
I mean, I definitely thought it definitely was eye-raising to me that with the level of quality behind those particular movies that we just named, you know, I would have at least expected maybe one or two of those movies to at least have one of those individuals nominated. You know, at least Straight Out of Compton for maybe best director or at least best actor. I mean something. And
Yeah.
then and then I would at least thought that that the other one would have I would at least expect that one to at least get a nod for best director. You know,
Well, Creed with the old dude too. What's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. The fact that Sylvester Stallone was nominated and dude, Michael, the director and the person who played Creed, I can't think of his name right now.
The director.
The director was Michael, right?
No. The star was Michael. I think the director.
Yeah. Okay. Who's the director?
Ryan Coogler, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, you can look it up here. I'll look it up. But yeah, I'm shocked that neither one of them got nominated for either best actor or best director or something. And the fact that Sylvester Stallone did when he never got nominated for anything, Rocky. And and from my understanding, I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I've heard, he wasn't no standout part of the movie. It was all the Michael who played Creed. So I'm shocked that he didn't get any nomination for anything as well. So
yeah.
But like I said, no, go ahead. We get to that part later. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I was just saying, yeah, just like you were saying. I mean, the Ron Coogler that he didn't, at least since Sylvester Stallone got Best Supporting Actor for that movie, I would have thought that Ron Coogler would at least got a nod for Best Director. And then I would have thought with the success that came with Straight Out of Compton, I thought that would have at least got a Emmy. I mean, not Emmy. An Oscar nod for Best Picture, or I don't know. I mean, Best Director, something.
Right.
I understand it was a fairly new and young cast. A lot of unknowns. That would, as far as like the guys playing NWA. You had O'Shea Jackson Jr. Ice Cube's son.
Right.
Then you had a few other fairly unknown individuals who
you had
doing anything. But
yeah, like you just said, O'Shea Jackson playing Ice Cube. You had Jason Mitchell playing Eazy-E, which I think stole the show.
Yeah.
If you've seen the movie, Jason stole the show with the Eazy-E character. Corey Hawkins played Dr. Dre. Aldous Hodges played Mr. Ren, which you didn't see much of him in it. Paul played Jerry.
Paul Giamatti.
Giamatti.
Yeah.
I think it's actually that.
Which I
so
mean,
yeah.
now he's a well known. He's a
Yeah,
very
he well
known
known
actor. and
But
which he also became a part of one of Chris Rock's punchlines during his monologue.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. We get to that. We gonna get there.
yeah, but but
But
I'm
to me, between Jackson, Ice Cube's son, playing him, and Jason, I think Mitchell playing Easy E, they should have got something because they literally you got lost in Compton.
yeah,
To me, I got lost in the movie. If it was a well scripted, written, directed movie, and I mean, of course, it got some elements of it that I wouldn't, subscribe to, but of course, it was telling the story of NWA, so
yeah,
they
yeah,
had to show all that. So, but it should have been nominated when you got a movie like Mad Max nominated
yeah.
for. Have you seen Mad
No,
Max?
I haven't.
It's barely any dialogue in the movie, and it wasn't worthy of no nomination. Put it like that. So there's definitely some I guess racism uh, going on here, or prejudice, or what was that type of elite clubism going on here
Yeah,
with the fact that no black actors or actresses got nominated. So man,
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I mean, you know, like that it was alarming. And the fact that it raised eyebrows. I mean, it should have. I mean, it should have. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Uh,
um, now as far as we were protesting, I mean, I wasn't necessarily against, like Jada, and Spike Lee, with them protests and everything. I understood where they were coming from, but at the same time, those who didn't choose to withdraw, at the same time, I also understand. I could understand their position as well. Um, I feel like I could see both sides of the coin as it relates to those who did participate, such as a Whoopi Goldberg, a Chris Rock, a Kevin Hart. You know,
yeah,
them choosing to go. Louis Gossett Jr. I saw him out. I saw him out in the audience during the monologue. Um, I felt that uh, those who chose to sit out, it did, and show their frustration. I thought that it was making a statement. Um, but at the same time, I feel like those who chose to go, they too were also choosing to make a statement uh, by them going. They chose to make it. And I think that was epitomized in Chris Rock's monologue, personally.
yeah. Chris Rock pretty much left no rock unturned with who he was jabbing
Yeah, yeah,
with his uh, with his monologue. Going back to Spike Lee, I almost bought Chirac, but I decided not to. I got a problem with Spike. You know I do. You already know this. I got a problem with Spike Lee, man. First of all, how is he going to? He got an Oscar. He got an award, right? He wasn't in the main show, I don't think, but he got an award, which he accepted, and he boycotting the Oscars. Now, to me, and if I'm wrong on that, correct me, because from my understanding, he got an Oscar. Am I wrong on that?
no, I don't believe you're wrong. I do remember seeing him get an Oscar. I
All
forget
right.
what it was. I forget what it was for, but I do remember seeing photos of him receiving an Oscar from them.
Yeah, he got an Oscar, but he joined in, which I don't know if Jada was telling everybody to boycott. She was just saying she wasn't going. But anyway, he joined into the Jada narrative, which I have no problem with, but I do find it kind of hypocritical that you still accept the award and you boycott the Oscars. I think if you boycotting the Oscar, you should have said, I don't want the reward. I don't want nothing to do with this because of how y'all are doing black actors and actresses. So that's kind of hypocritical. We could have talked about Chirac, but since I haven't seen it, and I'm only going off of hearsay or other accounts, I won't talk about it until I see it. But I do have a problem. I will say this, and I stated this to you with Spike. This is my problem with Spike. A situation that's going on in Chicago that is very much present, very much right now. Problems with the the shooting and the black on black crime and the situation in Chicago. To come in and make a movie based off of a comedy and make a satire, almost a seemingly satire of the situation.
It was a satire.
And it was a satire. I know. I'm just saying, and then you have folks from Chicago like Rhyme Fest and other individuals, even down to Twister and a few other that are out of Chicago, taking issue with the approach that you came when you have this studio, you have this talent of making movies where you could have actually addressed the issue and really brought some serious takes on it and made folks look at it and take this thing serious. Instead, you take a whole different way that offended folks. And so I got a lot of issues. You know me. I got a lot of issues with Spike Lee. But he takes the Oscar, yet jumps on the boycott and the Oscars. I think that's kind of hypocritical. Either go to the Oscars. If you're going to accept the award, you need to go to the Oscars. If you're going to boycott, then don't accept the award and let it all be. I'm not for it. I don't want to do it because if I wasn't going and I was against what they doing, which I am, but I wouldn't necessarily took it to a boycott stage. But if I'm going to boycott, I don't want the reward. You know what I'm saying? So that's my feeling. But anyway, you mentioned Jada. How did you feel about Jada's stance?
I totally understood Jada wanting to boycott. I guess my only thing is, and people, some people won't agree with this. It's just for Will, and they were wrong for wanting to boycott for the issue. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to boycott. I just think the timing to me couldn't have been worse, because they boycott the year that he doesn't get nominated for the movie he was in. And so it looks like they're boycotting because he didn't get nominated. Now, I'm not saying that's why they boycotted.
But that's why.
What you say? What you say?
It's why. Look, man. You're right. The timing with Jada was off. You don't wait till your husband make a movie that is, and I think he's been trying to make Oscar-worthy movies for a while, and some of the movies definitely deserve the Oscar. Like, what's the one where he played the dude who lost his home with his son? I can't think of his name.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness definitely deserved. Yeah, that definitely deserved either a nomination, which I don't know if he got nominated for that one, but it was Oscar worthy. The way he played that role was very good. Yeah. I haven't seen Concussion, but from what I'm hearing that his accent was horrible, and the movie was just okay. I don't think it was, from what everybody's saying, it wasn't worthy of an Oscar nod. And so and he also has benefited off of Hollywood. Yeah. Also movies that was questionable, making pretty good money. So it is kind of strange that they will wait to this year to say something about it. But anyway, so I'm a little torn on Jada and her motive behind her soliloquy or her rant via vlogging. So I don't know. I have some positive takes on it and some very negative takes. I can. Well, my positive, I don't have a problem with her speaking out. I think she should have spoke out. But why speak out on Oscars when there's other things going on that y'all very much silent to, or ain't speaking out near loudly as you did for a reward? You know, a meaningless statue that means when there's people losing their lives senselessly at the hands of police officers, just crazy stuff. And I haven't heard. I'm not saying they haven't said anything, but their cry wasn't as loud as the cry about the Oscars and not being nominated for a meaningless award. So that was a big issue for me with Jada. Like, so you can take out this time, and it's just to be real about it. And we'll get to, I guess we can transition into Chris Rock and what he did at the Oscars. But you take all this time and you set up a camera to share your disdain and your disappointment and your frustration with the Oscars and the folks who choose who win, the folks behind the scenes. You take our time to make a video that goes viral and gets all this steam, but you don't take that same time to speak out about Mike Brown, to speak out about Eric Garner, to speak out about Trayvon Martin, to speak out about all the other senseless shootings and the water situation in was Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan. Yeah.
So much going on around us that a voice of your magnitude could bring attention to that you don't speak on.
Yeah. But
the Oscar calls you to sit down and make this video telling everybody it's time to listen to us. We tired of this crap. The Oscars, really? Okay. I'm sorry. I thought the Flint water situation was way worse and way more egregious and way more serious. The fact that they're going to have to monitor these kids for the next 25, 30 plus years for lead, the levels of lead that was in their water, corroding the pipes, and the system and the government that allowed that to happen. That don't cause you to get up and put a video together to share your disdain. But not enough black folks nominated for a golden statue that doesn't move causes you to make a video. That part I'm just totally like dumbfounded. I'm dumbfounded on that, man. Go ahead.
Which I definitely understand, and I definitely agree as far as like there's a need to address other issues besides this. But I believe the issue with the Oscars is bigger than just the statue. It's the issue of systemic racism in Hollywood.
Right.
So the lack of them getting a statue is more so than just the meaningless statue. It's more so like Chris Rock said, the lack of opportunity for minorities, in Hollywood. It's like Hollywood, which is by far probably, and Chris Rock even alluded to this in the monologue. Hollywood is the most it's the most place full of the most liberal white Americans. So so pretty much it's like these are the ones that are going to be the most supportive of blacks. These are the ones that are going to be most supportive of minorities, the most supportive of the marginalized and the ones on the fringes of society. And even they don't include minorities and blacks at a level that could be called equal. There's still, as you said earlier, elitism, there's still classism, there's still racism, even amongst the world's most liberal, and so it's like I think Jada was, I definitely think to be a Oscars versus Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan definitely trumps the Oscar issue, as far as severity and urgency and importance. Like, and you're right. I mean, where are these resources, that we have when it comes time for issues like that? Like you said, kids are gonna be dealing with this 20-some years from from now. And so you're absolutely right. Like Hollywood and all other people with huge, large platforms to speak from, and in a bigger set of resources, they do need to be the ones crying out and speaking to that. They need to be the ones that address that and attempt to rally the people around these tragedies that are going on. So I definitely agree with you.
Well, I mean, to go off of what you said, and I guess we can talk about the Chris Rock, opener at the Oscars. And you're right. I understand that the systemic racism that exists in Hollywood is real, and I'm pretty sure both white, black, and otherwise sees it and knows it exists. So it ain't nothing that was unknown. But this has been the case for many years. This ain't the first time that the Oscars, there's been an attempt to boycott the Oscars. Jesse Jackson tried to do it about, I want to say 20 plus years ago. Tried to get folks to rally to boycott the Oscars for the same reasons.
Yeah.
So they know the culture, they know the environment of the Oscars. And I think that's what Chris Rock was trying to allude to. Wow. And I think that's why he took a heavy jab at Jada and Will, because, and not only them, but the woman who played on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had similar sentiments to share as well.
Yeah.
Because this has always existed. And this is also an environment and a circle and a culture that you have heavily benefited from in the past. So your whole platform, your level of success and the lifestyle that you enjoy so privily now was given to you by this same Hollywood that you trying to boycott now. But then a lot of stuff outside of Hollywood that that systemic racism is affecting as well, that's really affecting people who don't have the platform to talk about it and don't live in the luxury houses and drive the luxury cars and eat the best of food and can travel anywhere they want to go. And the only problem they got is they can't get an Oscar. Those folks who are being mistreated by police officers. And let me say this, I'm not talking about all police officers. I'm talking about individuals who don't uphold the law and the order that and the creed that they subscribe to and pretty much kneeled to when they became an officer or a police officer or whatever. The ones who cut and break those understandings that that they supposed to adhere to. Those cops, not so people always think you talk about all law enforcement. No, we talk about the individuals who wear that badge, who has that color on, that drives in these cars, who pull you over, who break the law that they supposed to uphold, then supposed to be protecting you, and they're doing wrong to you. We're talking about those individuals. So I'm not saying all cops, but there's so much of this going on around us. And then, like I said, with Flint, Michigan situation, and it's so many other situations that these folks don't have what Jada and Will have. And like Jada not going to the Oscars, what is that really going to change? See what I'm saying? What is that going to affect far as us? Yes, it might give us more opportunities to bring more awareness to the plight of Hollywood, but at the end of the day, I would think there need to be more awareness brought to the everyday life that people live and have to deal with in their communities, in their cities, in their neighborhoods. Interacting with with police, interacting with racism by police officers and by different governments and different city halls, and that's to me more of an issue than Hollywood and or the Oscars are. So I think that's what Chris Rock was trying to say. So let's do this, man. What do you feel about Chris Rock's Oscar opener? What,
I like
like, what was your overall when you got done hearing it? What did you feel about
Genius.
it? Genius.
Yep. I felt like it was what needed to be said. I felt like I felt like they had that this year because of the Oscar so white issue that arose and all the controversy. I felt like Chris Rock was the one that would speak to the issue in a way that would deal with it on both sides. You know what I'm saying? And how Chris Rock, because like you said, he didn't just go on there and just berate white Hollywood and say how dare you. He didn't just do that, but he went on. He also went on there and he addressed those who chose to boycott, and it's like he pretty much he showed. I guess it was almost like he showed the cracks and crevices and the flaws, I guess, in each side's, I guess, stance or whatever. And so I mean, I felt like that Chris Rock, that especially with the monologue, I thought it was very well done. And I felt like it accomplished one thing. It definitely accomplished that it addresses the issue of systemic racism and elitism in Hollywood. At the same time, uh, also showing that yes, it's even though that is true, there is opportunity, but there needs to be more opportunity. Then there does need to be more opportunity. And but he also pointed at I guess you were saying at the hypocrisy of some of those who were choosing to boycott. How he took a jab at Jada and Will. It kind of speaks to what you were saying, how they have benefited from Hollywood. They have benefited from the system. Now I do think that the system still needed to be spoken out against, but he's also basically kind of like he was, which some people were saying he was playing on both ends, and so he's gotten flack. Chris Rock's been getting flack for that as well, because they say he was trying to play on both ends. But I feel like he addressed the situation in an appropriate manner. And to me, it was typical Chris Rock. Like, it wasn't nothing. This wasn't shocking to me. This is Chris Rock. Like, half of what he said and done sounded no different than any of his other stand-ups I've seen him do. Chris Rock's always addressed race. He's always been edgy about it. That's what people love about Chris Rock, because he is edgy. And I mean, and the crazy thing about it is edgy and as racially charged and politically charged as Chris Rock is, he yet still has a pretty good fan base amongst white people.
Dad, I can't. Kaden won't let me play.
I would say I agree with a lot of what you said. When I first watched it, I was like, wow. I was really dumbfounded. Not that it strayed away from anything Chris Rock had ever done before, because that is Chris Rock. That's what Chris Rock has always done in his stand-up. He's clever with dealing with the racial divides and the different parts and different playing sectors in racism. He's always been clever with dealing with all aspects of it without overly leaning one way or the other. He always kind of keep his feet kind of stable in the situation. But I did pause. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I didn't. This is okay. The part where he got to talking about, there's more serious things to boycott. There's more. Like back in the day, people didn't have time to boycott the Oscars when they was getting lynched and all this. Yeah. And then he said people back in the day didn't have time to boycott the Oscars when grandma was hanging from the tree. Now, I I understood and I felt what he was saying because it was so true.
Yeah.
But I did not like what I was hearing coming from the audience. That disturbed me. Like when I heard people laughing at what he had just said, when I heard people laughing at the idea of folks getting lynched and raped, and laughing at the idea of folks being hung for trees, it wasn't, to me, that would have been a moment where, even though Chris is a comedian and he's saying that one of the moments where you'd be like, oh, you know, like you don't, it ain't laughable. Yeah. And that bothered me, that, and that's what, and it's one of the only thing that bothers me about Chris Rock is he gives room for those to laugh off the problem rather than deal with the problem. Anytime you can laugh at it or laugh at the wrong that you eat, then it don't give you, it don't cause you or provoke you to really deal with what he just showed you. He showed you it, but he kind of give you a room to wiggle out of responsibility for it. Like, and that's what bothered me. Like, the way he went at Jada and Will was no holds barred. Like I told you, I don't even see how he could even come around Will and Jada without tension and friction, and Will want to go upside his head, you know, for how he phrased that. But it was so true, and you couldn't get mad at him because it was the truth. They should have been there. They should have been there. They should have sat there. They should have said what they said, showed at the Oscars, and stood firm on what they believe, that the Oscars is wrong, and the way that they're doing this is wrong. And we're here, and we here. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna participate, but we still feel like everything that's taking place here is wrong, and y'all need to fix it. I agree with that, but I find it kind of distasteful that folks can laugh at lynching, you know what I'm saying, raping and hanging of our forefathers and mothers. That wasn't, to me, when he made that laughable, I'm not gonna lie, that part disturbed me out of his 10-minute opener. That part disturbed me for real, but I agree with everything else he said. I just didn't agree how he dealt. I wish he would have kind of dealt with what was going on right now. Like, you know, there's more to boycott or more to cry out about, like Flint, Michigan, and, you know, all the part where he says, what we're going to do is we're going to put all the folks who was killed by cops in the brochures or something, he said. Like, I don't know. I was like, you know, Chris, I don't think you should be making that funny. That ain't funny to me. And you making light of something that is real, like almost the same problem I had with Spike Lee. You making light of a real issue. There's real problems in Chicago right now, and Chirac is making light of the problem. It ain't bringing awareness to the problem. It's actually making it light and making it forgettable and making it something that you can bypass because of the way that you're dealing with the topic. And that was a low part for me in his opener, but everything else I enjoyed. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought if I was to give it a grade, I would give it an 80. And I would, you know, because of the 2 spots, which was short spots, but I just didn't like the audience laughing, black or white. I just didn't feel like that was laughable. You know, it was real, it was true, yeah, but it wasn't nothing that should have been laughed at. It should have been a moment where, to me, whether I was white or black, it should have made me swallow my spit. Like, you know, like, whoa, you know, that was real. You know, so that's me on that.
That the lynching comment, which I'll be honest, that didn't bother me. I thought that was a slam dunk, but that's me. But that actually got him flack in the newspaper. It was called appalling and all this, and then if there were even bloggers and you know YouTubers and all this stuff like that did reviews on his monologue, that had problem with that, and which I guess my whole thing was, when people talk about it's appalling and everything, to me it just showed how uncomfortable people get when you bring up the lynchings, the hangings, and all of that. Because now when I went back and I listened to his monologue like a third and fourth time, a lot of the noise you hear in the background isn't all laughs. A lot of it's like you hear a lot of ooh, like you hear like a whole bunch of kind of like you hear some mixed responses out there. Like some old, like some gas, like oh man, dang, dude. Because like there was folks out there that really was like he was knocking everybody upside the head with this real edgy, extremely racially charged and gut punch, punchlines that he was dishing out. So, like I said, with me, I felt like those lines right there was meant to get folks' attention. Basically saying, look, we didn't have, we didn't have time to be on this stuff back in the 60s.
Dad, can I sip these ice?
My bad.
No, you all right. You all right. It's real. This is fatherhood.
but basically, it's like he was showing to what depth, basically he used that he went and pulled something real like really grimy to show just exactly what level, I guess basically the level of racism we're dealing with versus the level of racism we were dealing with 30, 40 years ago. In the 60s, when this same type of Oscar, Oscar so white was still going on back then, reason why it wasn't an issue back then because we was too busy getting raped and lynched to really be concerned about, our recognition in Hollywood. That wasn't the racism that really needed to be, that was really forefront because that wasn't as severe as the lynchings and the rapings. Well, now
right.
the lynchings and the rapings have stopped, for the most part.
But that's my whole point. What you just said is my whole point and why I was like, I don't know. Right.
But I see what you mean though. As far as folks laughing at it, I mean, I don't know. I was like, I laughed at it, but me laughing at it, to me, I don't view the lynchings as any less a real issue, No.
Yeah, right. Of course we wouldn't, because we were the product of the folks who were getting done like that. But my problem is, if you're really trying to bring awareness to something, if you give people space to laugh at it, you're giving them space to walk around it without dealing with it at the same time. My problem with Chris was, and like I said, and I didn't have this take. Initially when I watched it. I did pause on the grandma hanging. The lynching and raping part was cool. I was okay, because I thought he was going to stop right there. Because that one statement nailed it all for you. Didn't have to say much more beyond that. But when he went his step farther and he said, the grandma hanging from a tree, that part made me pause. And I was like, okay. Then right after that, he went into the whole thing. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have all the folks killed by cops in the credits or something.
In the memoriam package.
Yeah. So I was like, is bringing real issues, but it's bringing it while making light and while still aiming your criticism at the black part of the group or the black part of the problem. Like, he was still in his portion about dealing with Jada and Will Smith and what's his name? Spike Lee. He was still at his, that was still aimed at Jada, Will, and Spike. So while they was laughing at him saying, you know, comparing Jada's boycotting of the Oscars to him boycotting Rihanna's panties and the whole thing, I wasn't invited, that was all in the same cup of judgment, or him, he was still aiming at the same target. So it gave, and I, you know, this ain't nothing about, I ain't trying to be racist here or anything, but white folks who are still insensitive to these aspects, because a lot of white folks are very sensitive, very in the know, and do want to deal with these issues, but a lot of them don't. And even some of us really are not sensitive enough, or as sensitive as we should be, to deal with these issues. It gave them all a license to laugh because it was still being kind of projected at Jada and Will's boycotting of the Oscars. It was that whole rant, or that whole segment of his opener kind of tied in. So it was like, we laughing about Jada still. Oh yeah, y'all boycotting this, and there's way more stuff that was more serious to boycott Jada. Yeah, so this is silly, Jada and Will and Spike. So it really wasn't pointing at, it wasn't directly pointed at the racism of Hollywood at that point. Then he went into kind of dealing with Hollywood when he said, is there racism in Hollywood? Is it burner cross in the front yard type racism? Is it go fetch me a glass of lemonade type of racism? No. Hollywood's racism was like this: you're not a Kappa. You know, that part was aimed at Hollywood. See what I'm saying? So it was like I had to listen to it several times to really form my opinion, and I listened to other folks' take, some who loved it, some who couldn't stand it. And I got it because I did have my own reserves about some of the parts and how he transitioned through the 10-minute opener. But I still think it was good, though. I still think it's going to go down in history. I still think he was the perfect person to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I think he missed on some parts because he hit Jada and Will harder than he hit anybody. And he didn't hit Hollywood as hard as he hit Jada. You know, like he hit Jada. He wound up a good punch and just knocked a few teeth out of Jada. Like, I felt that jab. The Hollywood jab, it was funny, it was real, but it wasn't as hard as the Jada Will Smith jab.
You don't think the fact that he was on Hollywood's dime, calling Hollywood racist, was potent enough?
Huh?
You don't think the fact that he was on Hollywood's stage, that Hollywood gave him, the platform Hollywood gave him, using that platform that they gave him to call them racist, you don't think that's risky and potent enough?
No. I'm gonna tell you why. Because, okay, for one,
gets Hollywood off the hook.
Yeah, he kind of did. I'm gonna tell you why. Because by having Chris Rock, and then you gotta look at the other stuff that took place on the stage as well, like bringing Stacey Dash up there. It made light of the issue. Like, had it just stayed with the opener, yeah. But everything else that took place after that, it was making light of the issue. It didn't stay, Hollywood didn't stay in a hot seat. Jada nor Will Smith was ever brought off the hot seat. They was literally knocked out as two couples, being a little bit extreme, which I can agree to an extent. But he didn't hold back nothing on Jada and Will. But the rest of it, while true, while pointing out and exposing what everybody already know, there is some racism in Hollywood. Everyone knows this. He didn't deal with it in a way that would cause them to change it. We're going to change it. He really didn't. Everything that took place up to this point actually would probably do more will be a reason for Hollywood to change the Oscars so white, you know, all the outcries from different actors and different things like that is going to be, and not just black actors, but white actors also speaking out about it. Like, I don't know if you saw that, what's his name? Danny DeVito had said something about calling, he called Hollywood racist.
Mm. So did George Clooney.
Yeah. So that's going to do more. That's going to be more of a reason for Hollywood to change, because they didn't say it with no room to wiggle out of. They said it, they left it there, y'all racist, and it's time to deal with it, where Chris Rock was like, yeah, y'all racist, but it ain't the type of racism that this group have. It ain't type of racism like the Tea Party. It ain't the type of racism that Donald Trump is stirring up. But y'all are racist. You know, y'all got the good old, this is the, you know,
sorority
social club, sorority, yeah. So it's like it made light of it. Y'all like us,
I don't think it made light of it, man. Because look,
to an extent it did, but that's my opinion. No, that's just my opinion.
You remember the other comedy made about Hollywood, about at the president's dinner. He said he said all these white people in here, these actors, they don't hire black people, and they are the nice ones.
Yeah,
that's basically saying the nicest white people in America are still, at the end of the day, racist.
Right.
That's bold, man. Oh,
I'm not saying that it didn't. He didn't. Though he threw shot, but like I said, anytime, like, okay. Oh, let me ask you this: were we laughing at Jada them, or was Jada? Okay, we were laughing at Jada and Will. There was no sympathy. There was no explaining away his feelings about Jada and Will's stance with boycott. He said, look at all the stuff he said. It's only broke people who ain't got a job who always trying to tell you not to do something. Yeah. It was funny. He said, I wrestled with it. You know, I wrestled with doing this, but I wasn't going to lose another job to Kevin Hart and all this.
Yeah.
He was unapologetic at his disdain or disgust with what Will and Jada did. The way he done it, it was harsh. What was thrown at Will and Jada was harsh. What was thrown at Hollywood was well thought out. That's the best way. It was thought out because he got to exist. What did he say to Jada? He said, don't she still work in movies? Don't she still have a show?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So basically how I take that, and if you understand, and there's another part, I listened to some other people who was speaking about Chris Rock's own personal view of black people. I forgot, because I used to have a big problem with Chris Rock back in the day with his comedy, because I thought he took black stereotypes and used it to his benefit. I used to have a real big issue with Chris Rock stand up. It wasn't too big or blacker that I started to listen to Chris Rock and appreciate his comedy. But before, I thought Chris Rock was somewhat like the Wayans. I be feeling like the Wayans do this a lot. Just capitalize on the black stereotype, making it funny for people who are not black. And I have a real big problem like that, because I don't think any other group of people would appreciate. Like Bruce Lee, one of Bruce Lee's big issues was how Chinese people were portrayed in Hollywood. It was a big issue for him. Yeah. And I see how Chris Rock them kind of does that with their comedy and stuff. They make us look buffoonish to me sometimes. I just have a real big issue with him. But he was unapologetic with what he did at Will and Jada. He didn't jab them, Trev. He cold cocked them. he hit them hard, like really hard. But Hollywood, he slapped up a little bit. If I could pardon my uses, he pimp slapped him a little bit. but it wasn't. He didn't hit him like he hit. Like he tried. He was like he tried to knock Jada and Will out. Like literally, I'm trying to knock y'all out because I just think what y'all doing is so stupid. But with Hollywood, let me just slap y'all up a little bit, make y'all up, throw a little cold water in y'all face. Look at this, you know. And I don't know. It was different to me. It was different, but I still enjoyed. I still enjoyed it. That's the best way. That's the best way I can put it,
man. In my defense of a Chris Rock or Wayans and they brand of comedy, actually, in my opinion, with them taking the black stereotypes. They're not taking them and making them comfortable, making them funny for white America. They're taking them and they're mocking what white America has said that we are. Like, okay, take for instance the movie "Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood" in South Central. That's all these so-called black gangster hood movies that were made by a lot. Some of them made by white producers, like South Central. That was made by Oliver Stone. You know, they're taking these portrayals of us and saying, look, yeah, this is what we now classify the black. And so after a while, especially in the 90s, there was like all black movies had the same narrative. No father, that everyone, and then like, how there was always this underlying message, in these movies and stuff. So it was like, it basically mocked that, because it was like, look, we're more than this. You know what I'm saying? Like we're more than, these stereotypes. We're more than gangsters. We're more than players. We're more than pimps. That was the underlying theme.
You got that from Menace? Don't Be a Menace by Drinking Juice in the Hood? I didn't get that from the movie. That's just me. I didn't.
That could be a not seeing the forest for the trees. There's so much buffoonery and joking going on. You might think, oh man, it's just a bunch of coonery or buffoonery, but they're taking what, like I said, because the whole movie is one big long stereotype.
Right, it is. I know, but let me ask you.
They're using the stereotype to basically throw it on its head, to say, look, you got to know this ain't what this doesn't define black America. That we are.
I would agree with that if there was a portion.
It's so silly.
Let me say this. I would agree with that if there was a portion of the movie at some point in the movie where they come out and say, "Now y'all know we ain't nothing like this." But it ain't no part in the movie that suggests that. It's like, okay, like I'll use Spike for this.
It's so ridiculous. You gotta know. It's too ridiculous.
No, wait a minute. Let me set my point up. All right, Spike Lee in his movies, he does that. Like, I have a problem with Spike for different reasons, but most of Spike Lee's movies, he try to point out the stereotype that's projected on us from outside viewing eyes. He turns it and make you focus at it and show you just how this is you putting us in this light. Yeah. I see that from Spike Lee. And he uses very uncomfortable topics to display it. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of School Days, what did you said it one time when we was talking off camera. You said, what'd he say? What did Lawrence Fishburne wake up, the whole family. All right. Now, that was to show that at some point there was attention brought to the listener and the viewer to wake up, to see the foolishness, see the okay, now let's go to Juice, Don't Be a Menace. Nowhere in this movie does the Wayans characters kind of step into the fourth dimension to show you, if you feel like we're like this, you're an idiot. It's very much taking Menace to Society, a serious, a movie that are the boys in the boys in the hood, two movies who was trying to bring awareness to the plight of inner city black youth took it, made a satire of it that many black folks don't enjoy, but a lot of white America does. Love this movie. They nowhere in the movie do they get. Now they don't. Of course, it's satire, so they know this is an exaggeration of stereotypes. But it's for the purpose of. I don't see what you're saying. I see it as the Wayans taking stereotypes, playing it to their benefit into comedy, and just like the whole what's that, 50 Shades of Black.
Yeah,
it's a stereotype of 50 Shades of Grey, a parody of two movies, because that's what they do. But nowhere in the movie do they bring awareness to, if you believe like we are like this, y'all are idiots. It ain't no underlying message. That the whole message is we just making fun of other stereotypes. We just gonna take all these stereotypes. The black man who is pro-black, who marries the white woman, we're gonna put that in there. We're gonna have these dudes, this gangster with all his twists in his hair. And to me, I would say this, I go so far to say this, Trev. I would say some folks outside of the black community, that's exactly how they see the dude with dreads or the dude with braids. Even some black, people see that culture of blacks that way, or the hip hop culture, and these thugs and foolish, ignorant people.
Yeah.
In the movie, that's what it projects. The only person who find it funny is folks who already think we like that. I don't see nowhere in that movie where it's like y'all stupid and y'all think. I don't see that. Go ahead.
I just said I thought it was funny too, man. I ain't gonna lie. First time I saw Don't Be a Menace, I laughed my tail off. It was hilarious to me.
It ain't gonna say it's not. There's aspects of it that's funny, but to me, it's too buffoonish. It's too dumb. It's too nonsensical. That type of funny ain't funny to me. Like, it ain't clever. It ain't clever comedy. It ain't Coming to America comedy. It ain't
it's spoof funny.
It's spoof funny. It's scary movie funny.
Because it's a spoof.
Right. And that's all it is. It ain't nothing beyond it. There ain't no message beyond the spoof. And to me, the way
that's the purpose of a spoof. It's satirical, man. Like, you look at Borat, yes. You look at all these types of shows, man. That's what.
Yeah, I know some spoofs. I know some spoofs has an underlying message that is trying to be portrayed. I'm just saying I don't think that movie or none of the movies that the Wayans brothers make has that underlying message in it. That's what I'm saying. Even Chris Rock's movies have an underlying message. Like CB4 had an underlying message that was clearly, you clearly saw it. Yeah. You understood what Chris Rock was trying to portray, even though the movie was crazy, satire, and clarity. With the Wayans, it's just stupid. It's just stupidity. It ain't no underlying message to gather from it. I'm gonna get you, sucker. It ain't no underlying. It's just a stupid movie. It's just stupidity in a movie. You gonna like it or you not. It ain't no underlying message to gather from. That's my opinion. I don't know.
I say this. One of my favorite scenes in Don't Be a Menace. you probably not gonna like this. It was a scene when the convenience store, and they was trying to impersonate the Menace to Society convenience store scene, and they had a white dude walk through the convenience store door, and the little thing goes bing bing. Then when Trey and Ice Cube or whatever his name was, when they walked through it, it goes nigga. Dude, I thought that was I ain't gonna lie, I thought that was hilarious, because what that showed me was it was dealing with the racism that black folks deal with when they go into convenience stores in the city. Cause that's some real stuff, man. It's like, hey,
that's right. It's
all eyes on us, man. Like, dude, that was hilarious to me, man.
Like I said, there's aspects of it that that is, just that is shedding light on true unfairness. But I'm saying overall, the overall project, I can't give you that one, man. Not on them, not on that note. I can't do it.
Man.
But anyway, let's so basically on the whole Chris Rock part, we both thought it was good, but you thought it was good overall. Period. Ain't nothing to question about it. I saw a few things to question about it.
I mean, you can there's room for questioning. I won't say there's no room for questioning.
No. I know. I ain't saying you're not saying there's no room. Saying you didn't find nothing about it that you thought was off or bad, or you thought it was all pretty cool. No, that's all.
I mean, there was definitely some. Like I said, when I went back and watched it, I definitely saw. There were definitely moments that you could tell it was some jaw dropping moments in the audience where the audience, you can sense the uncomfortable tension in the audience on some stuff he say, So I mean, like with the Rihanna panties, statement, and
that was funny to me, man. That was so funny to me.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Certain folks that was, but
because it was clever. That was just clever.
It
was
clever.
And his timing,
yes.
No, he took his time. He rushed it. Yep. He wasn't too late. He was right on. It's like me boycotting Rihanna's panties.
And then there was a laugh, and then he was like, "I wasn't
right." So he was. It was good, but like I said, there's some parts that I definitely raised eyebrow too. Let's move on, man. We don't have to be on here too much longer. I guess we can touch on this and get off of it. With the whole presidential race and looking at the landscape of candidates, have you ever seen anything like Donald Trump and the type of stuff he's getting away with while running for the biggest seat?
No.
Not only in America, but the biggest seat in the world.
In the world, the known free world. I've never seen anything like this there.
Okay, so and it's scary to me, man. Like this dude, did you hear the statements that he said to who ran against Obama last presidential race?
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, did you hear the analogy or the illustration he painted with Mitt Romney? I'm
not sure. I saw some comments, but I'm not sure if I seen the one you're talking about.
Well, basically, it was foul. Put it like that. I won't say it over here.
Wow.
But he alluded to him basically getting. I just go this far. He alluded to him getting on his knees, and you can let your imagination take you far.
Wow.
All right.
I think I might have heard some allusion, but I didn't know it was to that. I didn't know it was that type of level of crashness and vulgarity. Yes. Like in his rallies, dude. Remember the year that John McCain was running and the woman screamed out at the rally that Obama was an American and he can't if he wins, we're gonna lose America and all this. And John McCain stopped her and said that's not true. He is an American. He's a good man. We just have a difference of opinion. Well, at Donald Trump's gatherings, they're literally jumping on like protesters, calling them all type of racial slurs. He encouraging it. Yeah, I heard about
Ku Klux Klan member jumped up and he didn't denounce them. He didn't separate himself from the statements of the Ku Klux Klan. It's the same man who said that he's sending all the Muslims out of America. And this is the same. It's like this dude is literally saying some racial, bigoted stuff. This is Rush Limbaugh running for the presidency. And I just being real, man. And I find it strange that, like, remember when Herman Cain got caught up and he had to drop out because of some stuff in his past, like it was some infidelity stuff that came out about him, and he had to bow out the race.
Basically, sexual harassment stuff.
Yeah. All this stuff is in Donald Trump's past. And this man ain't getting no slack for it. He's not getting any slack for the stuff he said about Obama. He's not getting any slack for stuff he said about his own. And he winning. Like, so what does that say about the state of America, man? Like, where are we at as a people, as a nation, when a man like Donald Trump and all his ignorance can be paraded not before America, but before the whole world?
Yeah.
And nobody says too much or nothing about it. I'm lost, man. Help me understand this.
I heard I saw something. I believe it was on Facebook. It was on social media when I seen it, and it was describing Donald Trump. It says, he says, take the comment section from Facebook, turn it into a person, and have it run for office. And you got Donald Trump. And to me, it's like I feel like Donald Trump's popularity in America, it shows you the presence of the fact that bigotry and prejudice and that is very much alive and is seeking to be vindicated. Because whether or not because we had Obama as a president or because of all this talk of political correctness and all this talk of diversity and all this talk of racial reconciliation and Black Lives Matter, there are people that are sick and tired of that. And Donald Trump, to me, I feel like seems for those who feel like that the minorities are getting too big. I feel like Donald Trump to them is viewed as like someone like as a savior to them. But the crazy thing about it is that Donald Trump befriends minorities. He's friends with Russell Simmons and a lot of high profile, minorities.
That's not saying much. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not saying that when you mention Russell Simmons, because Russell Simmons got some issues too, man. But
that's true. That's true.
But you're right. But he does, like Mike Tyson and a few others. And Trev, I don't believe that Donald Trump believes anything that he's saying.
Well, that not the guy go back to Russell Simmons. He actually made that exact statement on a podcast. He made that exact statement on the podcast. He said folks don't realize that Donald Trump don't even believe half the stuff that Donald Trump said.
Right, and that's go ahead, finish your point. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say that that I've been getting from different interviews, like the interview with Russell Simmons, and then from even certain memes I've seen of Donald Trump, like from years ago, when he was, much younger. I've heard that apparently that he said that if he was to ever run for president, he would run as a Republican. He would run as a conservative because he'd be sure to win. But he said this as a person that had very, very liberal views, but basically was saying that he would run as a conservative because it'd be so easy for him to win. So I don't know if that's what Donald Trump's strategy is.
There's some strategy to the madness, so to speak.
But basically, that's one of the narratives I've been hearing out there. I'm not sure how true it is.
I've heard that.
No,
I've actually heard that supposedly there's some method to the madness where he understands. You gotta understand, this man's a billionaire who interact with the soul of America. He knows America. He knows how it really thinks, how it really operates, and his approach, you can't deny that it's working. Yeah, he's working.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
So now, will it win him the presidency? I will hope. This is what I'll say. I will hope that there's more sensible intelligent minds out there that can look at Donald Trump and see through what he's doing. He's speaking to the same group that harbors, like you said, all these ills and all these issues, and really think that they lost America, and really think that they are losing their place, which I can understand to an extent that America is changing, but they take it as a direct attack on them and direct attack on their way of living. And so he knows that the majority, okay, let me say it like this, the majority of the majority might think like this. And I'm just hoping that America, this is not the true soul of America. And it's like he's speaking to the soul of America. And with all, like you said, all the stuff that's going on, like with the cops and black young males and Black Lives Matters, and the fact that we had a black president for the last 8 years, and we lost our country, and affirmative action, and all these different things that is seemingly
we don't went too far,
stripping away the America that they know.
Yeah.
Oh, Donald Trump is talking to that.
Yeah.
And it's no different than what they view Louis Farrakhan doing to black communities. They think Louis Farrakhan's praise on the hurts and the discrimination that black people went through to get black people to join the Nation of Islam. That's how outside prying eyes view Louis Farrakhan and the Muslims and all that. They prey on racism and all this stuff, right? And the whole, we hate blacks, black power. We against whites and all that. They see that, but Donald Trump is the equivalent of that for them.
Yeah, he's the
of that view anyway. Of that view, not to say that Louis Farrakhan is like that, because I don't know for sure. He has some aspects of this, but you can't tell me the popularity of a Rush Limbaugh is not laced with the same thing that they can't stand about Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is nothing but Rush Limbaugh. I would say Rush Limbaugh without any
filter.
Like, I don't even think Rush would say some of the stuff that Donald Trump's saying. So, man, it scares me, dude. I'm scared of where we at.
It is alarming.
It's alarming, man. It's scary. It's like, what does this man actually win? And he really harbored these feelings, and he really believed this stuff, and this is really in his heart. Like the Bible says, out of the heart the mouth speaks. It's like, this man, if he believes this, does he think we in a to the point that Obama said he ain't get. Obama said he ain't gonna win. That dude said he ain't winning nothing. So I'm scared for our country, man. I'm scared for our nation, man. And I'm just wondering how the outside world is looking at us, man. Are we a joke? Are we considered nonsensical? Are we considered childish? And what has America lost is ability to be serious and take it serious as a nation? Is the only thing we got to stand on is our military might, because we ain't winning in education. We ain't willing in health. We ain't the most healthy. We ain't the smartest. Our healthcare is jacked up. So the only thing we got to stand on is our military might. And is that the only thing keeping us at the helm? Oh man, this is crazy to me, man.
It really is, man. I mean, it's, to me, like what you stated earlier. I mean, Trump is really playing on the fears of I would say the conservative community, conservative base. And I'm like you. I thought Donald Trump would have outlived and outstayed his welcome, make it past 2015. At least not, I thought his lead was going to give out long ago. I thought when him and Ben Carson was neck to neck, I thought he had begun to see his demise then. And I figured, Ben Carson would hold it for a little bit, and somebody else would come up and maybe knock him out, maybe a Ted Cruz or a Jeb Bush or something, But Donald Trump, crazily enough, he has really been holding this lead, and and seems to be the champion of the Republican Party at this.
But that's the crazy part. They can't stand him.
And that's what I don't get. That's what I don't want to. I guess, Stab, what my answer would be as to what's keeping him in. I think is the fact that he does have he seems to have a pretty deep well of resources. I think I think it's his own. I think he's funding and backing his own campaign and everything, and so I think he's kind of been responsible for his own longevity. With his deep pockets and whatnot. I think maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe he's buying his way to this to where he is. I don't know. That may be foolish and a silly answer. I mean, I'm not the most political dude at all. So I don't know.
I mean, we both are, but I think as we get older, we kind of forced into learning of the politics and these aspects of government. But I've never seen. This is the first time that I can ever say that the presidential race is a joke. Like, it's a joke. Yeah, like right now it is. I mean, the hurdles, the stuff that, and it really shows where the people are, because the presidential race is a reflection of the people that they're trying to lead. Yeah, and it really shows where we have come as a people, where social media, we're more concerned about what Angela Jolie is wearing than what's going on around us as far as pollution. We're more concerned about what's going on with some superstar, what Rihanna had on, or what Lil Wayne said in a song. We're more concerned about that.
Oh yeah.
So we are people who we are dumb. We are clueless. We are kind of off, so to speak, as a country, and we ain't paying attention. That's why they can feed us the stuff they feed us, and hurt us the way they hurt us, and lead us the way they lead us. It's scary, man.
You bring to mind a movie I seen a few years ago. I think it starred Luke Wilson, Terry Crews, and I think her name's Maya Rudolph. It's Minnie Riperton's daughter. She played Chris Rock's wife in Grown Ups. But the movie is Idiocracy, and basically it was in America where the people were so stupid. They're like, you looked at their, Terry Crews was their president, and he was part politician, part preacher, part just charismatic idiot. Just he would say any and everything, and everybody went for it. And like the people of the country were dumb. Luke Wilson, he shows up. He's a slacker, pretty much I think from his country, and then from his time or whatever. And then Maya Rudolph, she was, I think, a prostitute. And by the end of the movie, they end up becoming the president and first lady of the nation. They end up being the smartest people in this, in this world. But it kind of displays how we can be as a country, how we can be as a nation. And I mean, we so tuned in to, like you said, social media, and we love all this sensational stuff. We love World Star, we love all this, frivolous stuff on YouTube.
We love vanity, Instagram. Man.
We do. We really do. We love what's hot for the moment. We love it's junk food, so to speak. You know,
Right.
cultural
And
junk food.
it's sad, man. So I'm scared, you know what I'm saying? Because like you, I thought for sure Donald Trump would have been, you know, faded out of the race, and we can kind of get to a serious narrative,
Me too.
serious points. And you know, on the Democratic side, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, I think, is the only two that I'm even remotely looking at. And on the Republican side, I first of all, it ain't been enough to take. I don't know who to take serious yet, because
You don't hear about nobody else but
as long
Donald.
as Donald Trump is in the equation on their side, he's trumping, so to speak, to
Yes.
borrow his name. He's trumping. He's trumping any rational, sensible argument. You can't have no sensible debate as long as he's in the equation. So if he wins, then it's gonna make then that nonsense is gonna just carry on into the actual running for president. And it's like this is gonna be on the grandest stage. You don't get no bigger than running for president of the United States of America. You don't get no bigger than that. And we're gonna have. I don't think Donald Trump is no idiot. Matter of fact, I know he ain't an idiot. There is definitely method to the madness going on here. But the fact that he can parade it and get away with it shows how ignorant we are, not only as a country, but our media, CNN, C-SPAN, MSNBC, Fox, all of us are idiots because we allow this guy to be an idiot before us without anybody pulling his coattail like, look, dude, it's time for you to sit down. You know, we enjoyed your little run. We thank you for we thank you for the entertainment, but it's time to we trying to get serious, and it's time for you to move on out the way, or it's time for you to get serious. And when is this gonna happen? Because Obama got what? We got what, 9 more months?
Yeah.
And he's gone, man. It's like, oh my God, the argument got to get real at some point. But anyway,
you think so, man?
Anyway, you got any final things you want to share, man, before we get out of here?
Just that, I mean, with Trump, I think maybe another reason why he keeps getting support is that he keeps talking about what I guess his quote unquote vision of America is. But he's not, but notice he's not giving any plans as to how he's going to do any of the stuff that he says he's going to do. He even when he's asked about, well, how are you going to do that, he never gives a plan behind it. So I think so I think I'm believing when it gets to that phase where he's actually got to lay stuff out, and when he gets to the nitty gritty, I think that's when we're gonna start seeing more, more kinks in his arm.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let me say it like this. I hope.
Yeah.
But when a person like, and not that, because in a lot of ways I be feeling sorry for George Bush Jr. But
Jeb.
No, George Bush Jr.
Oh, W. Jr. George W.
George W. Bush. I look back at him and I'm like, well, maybe he won't, cause he didn't have no answer for nothing either. And
oh dang.
So that's my point is, you don't have to. You don't see. They always look at one of the problems with the people who with America, and this ain't all America, but some of the biggest voices of America are the sectors of America that has the biggest voice and biggest effect. They always looking for somebody they can drink with. I want somebody I can drink with and sit down at a bar table and have a beer with.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that ain't the person you want to run the country. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the guy that you can have a beer with isn't the one who should be running the free world. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that guy ain't the one that needs to be making decisions on whether we bomb somebody or not, because he can have a drink. But maybe that dude who always in the know, always calculating, always the dude that you don't want to associate with at all. Maybe that might be the one that need to run stuff, because he. So that's how we think, man. We always somebody we can drink with, can have a record. But that ain't is that all that it takes to run the country? Because that's what Bush was. Bush was a dude you could drink with.
Good old boy.
And good old boy. And what did he do? What memorable statement did Bush ever make that you can look back on and be like, yeah, he was nothing? You know, so, and I would say Donald is smarter than him, but I'm hoping that Donald is just playing a game with the Tea Party and those extremists on that side to secure his place. And then, like you said, once the real questions start happening, his tone changed and he starts to really engage. Or we wake up and in some kind of way pull his coattail to get him on out of here so we can have the real conversation. But I'm scared, dude. I really am. I'm kind of nervous, man. I don't know if he win. I'm really thinking. I'm really expecting the Lord to part the skies at any given time. If Donald Trump win, I'm really looking for Jesus to go ahead and crack the sky and wrap us up out of here, man. I'm telling you, Lord, look, if he wins, that's a sign to me. That's a sign. That is a true sign for your boy, man. I'm telling you the truth.
When you say Stan, there will be wars and rumors of wars and the election of Trump.
Yeah, I think that's somewhere in scripture. Somewhere Jesus said something about Donald Trump winning something. It got to be there, man. Because I believe if he wins, I ain't a big conspiracy theorist, but if they thought Obama was bad, this man's going to be a problem, man. If everything he's saying is who he is, I'm scared of that. But anyway, thinking out loud, folks. We're gonna try to start back doing this more regular. I know we took how long? About at least a year.
Yeah.
Man,
close to it.
What was we doing? Anyway, having kids.
Oh yeah,
but
we had the twins and.
Yeah, I had the twins and. Well, we trying to get back on the ball. Hopefully, we can get Deontay on. He has another podcast that he does with his boy, and the same thing happened to them babies, and so he's gonna jump on with us until him and his partner can get back up. So, till next time, folks. You got anything you want to share before we go?
Man, just for those tuning in, thanks. Appreciate the love, man. Continue to check us out, and. Look forward to more upcoming episodes.
Make sure you leave a comment, man. We really need y'all to leave comments. Share this on Facebook, Twitter. You know what I'm saying? The Thinking Out Loud podcast. Share this, leave comments, let us know what you think. If you got some topics that you would love for us to talk about, whether it is dealing with with the faith, you know what I'm saying, or just anything, leave it in the comment section and we'll try to pick it up and talk about it. But until next time, folks, deuces.
Later.